What's up guys, Noah Arqueza here and welcome back to my college football redesign series where I redesigned every college football team's uniforms. In this episode we have 9 teams, 4 of which are orange. Let me know in the comments which designs are your favorite from this video, and also let me know who I should design in the next video. But be sure to check out my previous episodes because I don't want to repeat any teams. Doing every team once, there's a lot of college teams. It's going to take a while. I know it's been a long time since my last episode of this. These videos are very time consuming, like a lot of time in the design and the display, the video. It all takes me a long time, so I appreciate any support on this video. If you enjoy, leave a like, subscribe to my channel for more. I would greatly appreciate it. All of these designs are made in Photoshop using mockup templates from my website, templatefc.com, and I have a tutorial teaching people how to do this if you are a beginner. So be sure to check that out. Be sure to check out Template FC if you want to do this on your own. And all these designs and all my previous designs and all designs going forward will be in a Behance project, which is also linked down below, so you can see all the still images of these designs. But let's get started. Syracuse starts off this video with a design that takes inspiration from multiple eras of Syracuse football. The helmet and pants are basically what they have currently, but the top is an original design. I prefer the older Syracuse designs with solid orange numbers on navy without the white stroke or outline, so I replicated that setup here on the uniform. The script logo on the front I think adds some interest that their current uniform lacks with the block text. The main design element of these uniforms though is the striping on the jersey, and it's inspired by the shape of Syracuse's old logo, so I kind of created a pattern out of that old logo and like its general shape. The uniforms with this setup include the home navy on orange, the away white on orange, the all orange uniform, and then an all white uniform. The alternate uniforms feature the same trim design, but in the form of a larger sleeve striping, just to mix it up and incorporate that design motif in a different manner. And then I also used that on the helmet and pants, and I created a white version that features orange and silver accents for a more flashy kind of out there uniform. I'm kind of a slut for checkerboard patterning in sports uniforms. Like Croatia has one of my favorite uniforms of all time. Mine's kind of does the same thing. So checkerboarding is so cool, or checkering. I don't know exactly how you should refer to it as. I really wanted to use that motif here for Tennessee since they have that on their field, like their end zone. And I see it pop up every now and then for Tennessee. The problem is Kentucky also does it, so I wanted to kind of separate them so I didn't do the same thing that like Kentucky does. So the uniform's general setup for the home and away are similar to what they wear now, but the helmet and pant stripe feature a checkering at the ends of those stripes. The tops feature sleeve trim checkering that is pretty small, so it's more of a subtle detail here because I didn't want that design to like stand out too much on the home and away. I wanted it to kind of still feel like the Tennessee uniform feels right now. And this design setup is used on the home, away, and an all orange uniform. The all black uniform is a similar design, but I added a unique checkerboard pattern throughout the whole uniform here, and I thought it just worked here with the all black as a unique feature to this uniform that I think an all black uniform deserves. I gave the volunteers a few more alternates as well, including an all white that incorporates the checkers a lot more. I included all checkered striping on the helmet and bigger checkers on the sleeves, and how many times am I going to say checkers in this clip? This gray uniform also incorporates the checkered striping, which is a little different this time. It's a solid stripe with the checkers outlining that solid stripe, so it's a little different, and that's featured on the helmet sleeves and pants here with some alternate logo on the sleeve. Finally, we have a throwback uniform which features 2 solid sleeve stripes and then solid stripes on the helmet and pants for a much simpler uniform. I wanted to separate Illinois from Syracuse because they have fairly similar looks right now. I know it's not the same, but it is kind of similar. So if you weren't like a fan of football and like couldn't identify teams, if you saw them both playing, you might be confused on which team is which. Obviously the big letter on their helmet kind of gives it away, but you know what I mean. I was inspired by some classic Illinois striping with the orange middle, white, and then navy outside. So I chose an all orange helmet, which is something that they had in their past. And I thought the orange numbers looked better with that helmet than white numbers, so I went with the orange numbers and the white stroke. The sleeve striping features these like triangular shapes that kind of break it up, and those shapes come from an old Illini logo, and I wanted to do that to add some flair. It comes from like their Indian logo, the guy's headband, and I just thought some of those patterns were cool and I wanted to incorporate them. So this design setup is used on the main blue and orange home, the all blue home, the white on orange away, and then the all white away. The alternate brings in a simpler and thinner helmet and pant stripe, white numbers, and a new sleeve design. And this design is the triangular element from the previous shirts, but without the striping element, so it's just the triangular shapes. And then there's an all white version of this as well, which is more navy dominant than orange. So I think it gives a different feel. Finally, breaking up the orange theme, we have Wake Forest, and I really try to distinguish them from some of the other teams I redesigned that featured gold. And I did that by adding texture to their gold elements on the home and away uniform, which I think adds a really nice, like, extravagant feel to the uniform that's really different. The home is an all black look with a sleeve design inspired by their university logo with that shape, and I think they used that a similar shape on their sleeve design previously, so I think I got inspiration from that as well. The gold texture, like I said, just really adds a nice feature to this uniform and helps it stand out. And you can really see this on the away design, which features the all gold helmet, and it has that textured look, which I think just looks so cool. And the white away features no black, so it's like the home is a very dark feeling, dark and gold, and then the away is white and gold. So they're completely different feels, and I like that contrast a lot. I have a home variation then that combines the elements of these two uniforms and an away variation that does the same thing. So we have kind of mix and matching them, and they kind of clash a little bit but kind of work together, and I like that dynamic. The first alternate then features a duller gold, kind of a more traditional gold that you would see, with trim elements inspired by another university logo that kind of has like this roping look. It's a bit more of a traditional setup. The all white alternate then is the same design as that first alternate, but a change in logos on the helmet and collar. Finally, we have the classic throwback using the old yellowish gold from the 80s, which I think has a fun nostalgic look, especially with the old school striping. Utah uses this cool kind of like Native American patterning in some of their alternates, and they have an alternate logo with this. So I wanted to use that patterning for their stripes here instead of their traditional striping that they normally have. So my home for them has this pattern design. It's like the setup of their current striping, just with that pattern in the middle. This main design then is featured on obviously the home all red, the away white on red, which I think are their two, like that should be their home and away looks. I like those two the best. Then we have an all white away look with the white helmet. Then there are two alternate uniforms with the same design setup or like striping setup, but they have differences from the main home and away. So the black version has black numbers on black with just the red stroke, and then the numbers have that same patterning going on the numbers that is on the stripes. The really cool feature that I like about these uniforms though is the helmet finish. It's this like reflective red, but it has just like a very unique look. I don't even know how to describe it, but when I created it, I was like, oh, I gotta use that. So for this all black one, it's black elements on the helmet, and then there's an all white alternate that has the white elements, but both with the same helmet finish and with the patterning going on the numbers. The other alternate uses that alternate logo that I mentioned earlier, and I use that same pattern, but I did it in a radial way. So that you can see like the radial look on the sleeves, and then it's the same pattern on the helmet, which I just thought was a unique way to implement a pattern. And then finally, I saw Utah had a throwback uniform that I really loved. It's red and silver, and I thought that was a nice contrast to some of their other uniforms. It's a little Ohio State feeling, but I think it works for a classic uniform, so I went ahead and did that as well. Tulane was actually a tougher team to redesign than I thought they would be. Using green and blue, like two pretty dominant colors, is kind of an interesting challenge, but they do have good uniforms currently, so I kind of stayed on the theme of what they currently have, but I had to add like a water theme to it. So you can see I added waves to their striping, which I think is a subtle, easy thing to do, but I think it just really adds a nice extra bit of something to their uniforms. So you can see the home, I went for the white helmet, white pants with the green uniform, which I think is probably their best look for home. But I also like how with their color combinations, they could wear a different uniform every week. So that was kind of my thought process with their uniforms. So it's the same design setup for the home, green on white, the away, all white, the all blue, and the all green. You can use your imagination to do some of the other combos that you'd have, because you could just mix and match all these and they would all look good. Then we have just two alternates for them, which incorporate a different kind of wave design on the sleeves. So we have the all black, and you can see the green and blue waves on the sleeves and pants. And then it's the same thing with an all white uniform. And I thought this kind of wave design was pretty interesting, pretty unique, but I wouldn't want this to be the main design feature. I think it's better served as an alternate. So I think Clemson's uniforms are becoming a little iconic to the point where you can't change them too drastically. I think my only change here on their uniform is to make the helmet logo a little bigger, because I think it looks better bigger. And then I added a striping design on the sleeve trim, which I think they had that previously in the past. And I thought that's like a simple thing that you can add to add a little bit of something to the uniform, but still keep it feeling very Clemson. So we have the home, away, and then an all orange, which are pretty familiar, look very similar to what Clemson rocks. We also have the purple alternate with a white helmet and white pants. I'm not sure if they ever used a white helmet, but this still feels like very much like a Clemson uniform. I think when they bring out the purple uniform, it looks much better with a white helmet than their orange helmet. For some reason, when they wear purple with the orange helmet, I just don't feel it. So I think the white helmet's a little better. It does feel like LSU has done this, so it has a bit of an LSU feel, but I think it's distinct enough with the orange to not feel that similar to LSU. And then with that same setup, I also did an all white away with the white helmet, which I also think looks pretty good, but I do like all white with their orange helmet as well. So this would just be a little wrinkle into the uniform set. I did add an all purple set as well with the purple helmet. I'm not too keen on them having a purple helmet, but I thought it would be a cool idea to just work through and show off. So here's what that would look like. And you could probably throw in the white top on this one as well. The only true alternate and like different kind of design is this orange on purple alternate that I did, which I brought in like tiger striping for the collar, sleeve trim, put some on the helmet as well. And it's just something different for Clemson. They don't strike me as a team that would ever do something like this, but I thought if they were to go a little out there and do something very different, this would be a cool way to start. Go dominant on both orange and purple with a little bit of white and some tiger striping, and you get an interesting look here. I don't know much about Troy, but I thought I would take inspiration from the Titans uniforms and do something similar with Troy because they have similar motifs with the sword and like two color grays. I think they have a white helmet, but I really like the gray helmet for them and adding like a reflectiveness to it. I think that's a fantastic look with their red. Personally, maybe that's not something they think, but I took their kind of sword looking bit from their logo and use that as their striping element. So you can see I did that on the shoulders and pants on the helmet as well. And I think the setup with going into that point adds like that sharpness. It has that kind of aggressive feel to it. I basically did this same uniform setup then in a few different colors. So we have obviously the home with the silver red on white. We have the away, which I did the red helmet for this one with red pants and the white top. We have an all black version with the chromed out face mask too, which I think is a cool feature, and then the silver numbers instead of going white. Then we have an all red and all white version. And of course, with all these versions, you could mix and match further, like the same thing with Tulane. So I could have probably done a bunch more versions of this, but these are the ones that I chose to show off. I did set up one alternate then with the same sword motif going on. So this is like the blackout uniform, all black elements with silver or gray, whatever you want to call it. And the sword motif then is on the collar and sleeve trim, kind of like wrapped around the neck, which I think is pretty cool. It's the same pants stripe and helmet stripe, but with the matte helmet, which I think looks pretty dope. Closing out the video, we have one of my favorite uniforms that I've done in this project, and it's Hawaii. So Hawaii has rocked some cool uniforms. I think that their main home and away that they currently use are a little too simple for what Hawaii could do, since like I feel like Hawaii could be so expressive and do so many things. Their name's the Rainbow Warriors, like they have a lot of options. So I definitely wanted to do striping with a pattern, and this is kind of the pattern I created with these triangular diamond shapes, whatever you want to call them. And I forget exactly where I got it from, but I was like researching Hawaiian patterns, and that's where I found one of these and kind of just set it up for football striping. The other cool detail here is in the background of all these uniforms, so it's like a subtle pattern throughout the uniform, is this like palm leaf design, which I made for an Inter Miami kit, and it just looks so good with the green. And I incorporated it on the black elements as well, the black and white elements for all these uniforms. And I think it just adds a little flair for Hawaii that just works so well. It feels very Hawaiian, and I don't know, I really liked it. And then you add on top of that the triangular motif going on in the striping and their logos and the numbers. And I think this whole uniform set really comes together. So for the main design, we have like the home, which I did the black, green on black. The away then is the black, white on green. Of course, we have an all black version of this and an all green version of this. The all green version still has the black helmet, but then we have another all green version, which I went with a brighter green, which I thought would be something cool that Hawaii could pull off. Use a couple different shades of green, why not? And I think this one looks the best with that palm leaf pattern going on. And then we have an all white version of this as well. And then our other alternate is the rainbow alternate, which is obviously based on their name, their old logo. Got a little bit of that pride feel, so maybe some people would hate this, but it's pretty cool. It's part of their name, part of their history. Incorporated that brighter green as the main color throughout. And this is basically a remake of an alternate jersey that they have had previous. I think it's basically a throwback uniform. But that rounds out this project, or this video rather. The project's still not done. I have so many more teams to do. So let me know who I should do next. Let me know what uniform was your favorite. If you enjoyed, please leave a like on the video. Subscribe to my channel for more. Be sure to check out Template FC if you want to design your own stuff, and check out that tutorial to learn how to create your own football jerseys. But thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate any support. See you in the next one. Peace.